Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went in there in the first place? Or, maybe you found yourself struggling to recall a really familiar name, feeling this heavy mental fatigue setting in right around 2 in the afternoon. It's an incredibly frustrating and honestly, even frightening experience. The truth is, cognitive decline is a silent struggle for millions of us, and because of that, the market is absolutely flooded with products promising to fix it. In this video, we are taking an objective, deeply researched look at a program called the Memory Wave. We're going to completely strip away the marketing noise to examine the actual neuroscience behind it, how it functions, and whether it actually holds up to scrutiny. By the end of this video, you will have a clear, evidence-based understanding of exactly what this program is, how it affects your brain, and whether it's a legitimate tool for your long-term cognitive health.
Now, before we look at the product itself, we really need to address the reality of why you might be seeking a solution in the first place. You are definitely not alone in feeling this way. As we age, or even just as we navigate these high-stress, fast-paced modern lifestyles we all lead, that heavy brain fog becomes a very common complaint, and it's a very real biological hurdle. See, when you're constantly under stress, your body pumps out cortisol, which is a hormone that, over time, can actively impair the hippocampus. And that's basically your brain's memory center. When you ignore your cognitive health, that occasional forgetfulness can snowball into a chronic lack of focus, making daily tasks feel, well, monumental. You lose your sharp edge. It affects your confidence, your work, your relationships. Finding a way to clear that fog isn't just about remembering where you put your keys. It's about preserving your quality of life and your independence.
So to give you the most comprehensive analysis possible today, we're going to cover the core cognitive problem, what this audio program actually is, the science of gamma waves, realistic expectations, the pros and cons, and finally our verdict and pricing. And actually, I want to mention this right up front. If at any point you decide this product is right for you, the only safe place to purchase is the official website. I've linked it directly in the description below. We'll get into exactly why that matters so much and the severe dangers of third-party sellers in just a moment.
First up, let's talk about the underlying cognitive problem, specifically this concept of uncleared brain waste.
Why do we actually struggle with cognitive overload and memory decline? Often, people turn to quick fixes, right? Things like excessive caffeine, energy drinks, or incredibly complex stacks of nootropic supplement pills. But based on our research, these usually fail because they're just temporary band-aids. They stimulate the nervous system, sure, but they completely ignore the biological root cause, which is uncleared metabolic waste in the brain. Just like any other organ, your brain produces waste as it operates. To put this into perspective, over a typical lifespan, your brain has to clear away roughly its own weight in toxic proteins and cellular debris. If your brain's natural clearance system slows down, which happens naturally due to age, stress, and poor sleep, that debris builds up. This accumulation physically causes the sensation of brain fog. Now, the Memory Wave was developed by neuroscientists to target this problem directly. The lead creator uses the verified pen name Dr. James Rivers to protect his personal privacy, a fact the program openly discloses. Their goal was to create a non-invasive at-home tool that targets that specific brain waste issue.
So, what exactly is the Memory Wave? Let's break down the actual format of the program.
The application process for this is entirely passive. Stripping away all the complex terminology, this is simply a fully digital audio program. That means there are no physical pills to swallow, no messy powders to mix, and no complex physical exercises or strict diets to follow. It's an auditory tool engineered to stimulate specific brainwave activity. Because it's entirely digital, you receive instant access to the audio files the moment you secure it. You download the track, and you listen to it. Based on our research, the protocol is very straightforward. Step 1, you put on a pair of stereo headphones, and headphones are absolutely mandatory for this to work properly. Step 2, you press play on your phone, tablet, or computer. Step 3, you sit back, relax, and listen for exactly 12 minutes a day. That's it. You don't need to meditate, you don't need to repeat mantras, or practice visualization. The audio track is designed to do the heavy lifting in the background while you just listen.
Moving on, we really need to look at the science of gamma waves to understand how this functions.
Listening to a 12-minute audio track sounds incredibly simple, doesn't it? Almost too simple. So we need to break down the underlying neuroscience in plain language without any of the marketing fluff so you can understand what's theoretically happening inside your head. It all revolves around something called gamma brainwaves. Your brain operates using various electrical patterns, and these are measured in hertz. Gamma waves are the highest frequency brainwaves, typically operating between 30 and 100 hertz. What the evidence suggests is that these rapid waves are highly active during moments of peak cognitive performance, deep focus, and complex memory processing. Think of it like your brain shifting into its absolute highest gear. However, our natural ability to access and sustain this high-frequency gamma state becomes suppressed over time. Think about how often you switch contexts every day, from a phone screen to an email to a conversation. This constant digital fragmentation basically exhausts your brain's capacity to maintain high-frequency processing. And when your gamma activity drops, your mental processing slows right down with it.
So, how exactly does an audio track change your brainwaves? Well, it works through a well-documented neurological phenomenon known as brainwave entrainment. When you play specific, precisely engineered rhythmic sounds like binaural beats or isochronic tones through headphones, your brain naturally tries to match its internal electrical rhythm to the external beat it's hearing. The audio essentially acts as a pacemaker for your mind. The memory wave uses this acoustic stimulation to gently nudge and guide your brain out of a sluggish state and synchronize it back into a healthy, highly active gamma frequency.
Now, why does reaching that gamma state matter for the brain fog we discussed earlier? This is where the underlying science gets genuinely fascinating. Based on the analysis, there's a direct link to prominent research, including studies connected to the MIT Brain Aging Initiative. Research indicates that sensory stimulation in the gamma range, specifically right around 40 Hz, activates specialized immune cells in the brain called microglia. These microglia act as the brain's janitors. When they're stimulated by gamma activity, they become highly effective at clearing away that harmful metabolic waste and cellular debris. So by entraining your brain into a gamma state, the audio is theoretically triggering your brain's natural cleaning cycle, clearing the physical debris that's slowing down your neurons.
Let's talk about realistic expectations, because it's important to keep our feet on the ground here.
Now that we understand the mechanism, we need to ground this in reality. This isn't a science fiction movie, and we need to separate evidence-based potential from exaggerated promises. First, let's look at who this is actually for. In my assessment, the ideal target users are adults over 50 who are actively noticing age-related memory decline, as well as busy professionals or even students who are experiencing severe mental fatigue and a lack of focus. It's designed for healthy adults looking for cognitive support. Conversely, you should completely avoid this product if you are seeking an overnight medical cure for a diagnosed neurological disease. Furthermore, if you are just unwilling to commit to wearing headphones for 12 minutes every single day, this will not work for you. And naturally, individuals with severe auditory processing issues or profound hearing loss really should consult a doctor first, as the whole mechanism relies entirely on sound perception.
If you do fit the profile and decide to use it, what are you likely to experience? Look, you are very unlikely to put the headphones on once and suddenly possess a photographic memory. That is an unreasonable expectation. What the evidence suggests is a much more gradual shift. Users are likely to experience a slow reduction in daily mental fog. Over a period of weeks, you might notice that your thoughts feel calmer, a bit more organized, and that sustaining focus on a complex task becomes far less exhausting. But I have to emphasize this point. Neurological entrainment requires repetition. Consistent daily use of the 12-minute audio is absolutely mandatory if you want to reinforce these new neural pathways.
Next up, let's weigh the pros and cons objectively. To give you a truly balanced perspective, we cannot just look at the benefits. Every single product out there has downsides, and you need to know what they are before making a decision. In my assessment, here are the 4 main pros and cons. For the pros, number 1, it is completely non-invasive and drug-free, which spares your liver and stomach from having to process heavy supplements. Number 2, it requires a very low time commitment of just 12 minutes a day. Number 3, the mechanism is grounded in legitimate, peer-reviewed gamma wave research from institutions like MIT. And number 4, it offers a robust 90-day money-back guarantee. Now for the cons, which are equally important. First, it strictly requires the use of stereo headphones. You can't just play it out of a phone speaker on your desk. Second, it's a digital-only format, meaning if you want a physical CD box set to hold in your hands, you're going to be disappointed. Third, as I mentioned, it requires rigid daily consistency to see any results. And finally, the results are highly subjective. Unlike a blood test where you can measure a vitamin level, measuring subjective mental clarity varies heavily from person to person.
Finally, let's cover our verdict, the pricing, and some crucial logistics.
Based on our research, the core digital package is currently priced at a single payment of $39. This is a one-time investment for lifetime access to the digital audio files. Because this is a digital download, there are no recurring subscription fees, and there are no shipping costs. You literally just download the file directly to your device. When evaluating cognitive tools, it's really important to consider the long-term financial commitment. Compared to spending, say, $60 to $80 every single month on consumable nootropic supplements that you have to just keep rebuying year after year, A one-time $39 cost for a digital asset that you can use indefinitely represents a highly logical, cost-effective approach to long-term cognitive support.
At that $39 price point, the official package also includes 3 digital bonus guides. You get the 1-minute memory saver guide, which offers specific techniques for locking in new information. You get the smart grocery shopping guide, which highlights foods that actually trigger brain fog. And you get the energy button report, focusing on natural energy optimization without relying on stimulants. But perhaps the most important feature here is the 90-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Because Brainwave Entrainment requires consistency, this gives you 3 full months to listen to the audio daily, gauge your own cognitive response, and see if it works for your brain entirely risk-free.
However, and please listen carefully to me here, we need to issue an urgent warning regarding counterfeits. You might be tempted to search for this on Amazon, eBay, or other third-party reseller sites. Do not do it. Based on our analysis of digital entrainment products, third-party sellers frequently offer tampered, bootlegged, or heavily compressed audio files. Remember, Brainwave entrainment requires exact, precise sound frequencies, like exactly 40 Hz, to work. If an unauthorized seller compresses an MP file just to save space on their server, those precise, delicate frequencies are completely destroyed. The audio will sound exactly the same to your human ear, but the neurological benefit will be totally erased. Buying a fake means you are quite literally wasting your time listening to dead audio. The only guaranteed authentic source is the official manufacturer.
So, what is the final verdict? In my assessment, if you are looking for an overnight miracle pill or you're just unwilling to wear headphones daily, skip this entirely. But if you are a smart adult willing to commit 12 minutes a day to a scientifically grounded, non-invasive auditory protocol, the Brainwave is a highly compelling, well-researched tool. It leverages actual neuroscience to tackle cognitive decline right at the source, offering a genuinely unique alternative to taking endless supplements. If you are ready to try it risk-free, the link I've placed in the description takes you directly to the official website, not a reseller, not a third-party listing. That is the absolute only link I share because it is the only source I trust to deliver the uncompressed, scientifically accurate audio. Thank you for joining me for this objective deep dive, and I will see you in the next video.